John Bush here with the Rise Up Radio Show, bringing you Big Brother news for the week of September 25th, 2012. Starting up here, FBI eager to embrace mobile rapid DNA testing. This is from Network World. New breed of biometrics equipment already in use with government intelligence in secretive agencies. It's been the FBI's dream for years to do the near-instant DNA analysis using mobile equipment in the field, and now rapid DNA gear is finally here. The idea is that you simply drop into the system a cotton swab with a person's saliva, for example, and the rapid DNA machine spits out the type of DNA data that's needed to pin down identity. Now that such equipment exists, the FBI is pushing to get it into the hands of law enforcement agencies as soon as possible. It's worth noting this push has already been going on for years now. It's part of a broader FBI push to gather up as much biometric information as possible on the American public. And we saw this come home to the state of Texas here with the Major Cities Chiefs Association. It's the heads of the police chiefs of all the major cities in the state of Texas. Their 2009 legislative agenda, they were calling on the legislature to pass a bill requiring all Class B misdemeanor suspects and above, again, that's suspects, to give DNA samples. Even if you weren't convicted of the crime, they would still keep those DNA samples, and of course that's part of this broader FBI push. We've covered before their push for facial recognition and iris recognition as part of their next generation identification system. This is more of the same. Stephen Martinez, this is the executive assistant of the Science and Technology branch at the FBI, said, DNA has emerged as the gold analysis and forensics analysis, the gold standard. And it's worth noting, Chief Art Acevedo and others, they refer to DNA as the new thumbprint. That's right, DNA is the new thumbprint. The article goes on to say, through the genetic information contained in an individual's DNA, which is in all human cells, it has been used since the late 1990s to solve criminal cases. And wouldn't you know, it's the agency behind a lot of this that will help certify the systems is none other than the National Institute of Standards and Technology, who many know is the organization that saw the botched investigation into the events of September 11th. They went so far as to even tweak the variables whenever they found that some of their tests didn't fit exactly what they wanted the outcome to be. They went ahead and changed the variables rather than potentially alter their hypothesis. It says these systems cost about $245,000. Of course, the taxpayer will be footing the bill for this Big Brother technology. They go on to say, get into some eugenics potentially here. For instance, the FBI could provide information about genetic traits and ancestry if that were needed, but Eisenberg acknowledges that privacy issues still have to be addressed. Worth noting on this front that it wasn't but about 30 or 40 years ago in the United States of America that states still had on the books eugenics laws, which is essentially eugenics is genetics pushing for traits and bloodlines and preferred races through all sorts of science and quackery, essentially. But it wasn't long ago in this country where they had courts that they would say your genetic line is unfit to exist. Potentially you had mental retardation or alcoholism in the family, and they would have people sterilized. That wasn't too long ago. So it's interesting to note that this article mentions, again, that they could get information about genetic traits and ancestry. That is Big Brother diving deep. Speaking of Big Brother coming to a public school near you. This is down the road from Central Texas here, San Antonio. Students will be tracked via chips in IDs. Northside Independent School District plans to track students next year on 2 of its campuses using technology implanted in their students' identification cards in a trial that could eventually include all 112 of its schools and nearly 100,000 of its students. So essentially they got RFID tags in their IDs. Now, this is John Jay High School and Anson Jones Middle School. Now, there are families and students that are speaking out. There's been rallies. And there was a family that spoke recently at a Texans for Accountable Government meeting, and they spoke out. The daughter of this family is refusing to use the RFID technology, and the father, of course, is very passionate about it. He's been there pushing, organizing rallies, meeting with school superintendents, pushing in the media, and they're refusing it on religious grounds, citing the mark of the beast. Many people are refusing it on those grounds, as well as privacy concerns and individual liberty concerns. And what this is also happening in the Austin Independent School District, similar programs. It's desensitization, whereby future generations will grow up thinking it's totally normal to require the use of RFID tracking technology, tracking where you go during your day. And they won't question it whenever it's required in order to exchange goods or services, for example. Maybe they won't question it when it becomes normal that these RFID chips are implanted under the skin, which is already happening to many families across the United States and the world. Even if it's not mandatory, it could become trendy as we see families taking the chip in order to get fast access to the hottest club. You can bet your bottom dollar we will see more RFID chips in the future, but thankfully there are some families that are standing up, speaking out, pushing back, educating other people, and making an overall stink about Big Brother in the public schools. And finally, for Big Brother news, this is out of Privacy SOS. This is a tough one. Everyone who attended Occupy Wall Street with a cell phone had their identity logged, says security expert. While we in the civil liberties community disagree strongly with the private investigator Stephen Rambin's admonition to get over it, after listening to him describe an electronic surveillance powers, it's hard to disagree with the first part of the title of his talk, Privacy is Dead. So we have Stephen Ramberg telling people to get over it, about the fact that privacy is dead. That was a talk that he gave. And he goes on to say, we'll just cut straight to the chase. Again, this is a privacy expert. This was at a conference. He gave a speech. People were talking about drones being used to monitor who's in the area based on cell phones. And he goes on to say, I can tell you that everybody that attended an Occupy Wall Street protest and didn't turn their cell phone off or put it, and sometimes even if they did, the identity of that cell phone has been logged, and everybody who was at that demonstration, whether they were arrested, not arrested, whether their photos were ID'd, whether an informant pointed them out, it's known they were there anyway. This is routine. So be interesting to find out how routine that is and if that's taking place at Occupies all across the country, including here in the city of Austin. Big Brother is alive and well, and it's up to we the people to stand up and educate everyone, because this surveillance society is definitely not one that I want my children growing up in. Big Brother is watching. Rise Up Radio Show. This has been Big Brother News for the week of September 25th, 2012.